And welcome back. You're still with Perspective, and we're talking about aviation with Singapore Airline Indonesia General Manager Vinod Kannan. In terms of growth, market growth, for example, which are the biggest now? Which is more potential, let's say, for you?
Well, again, we go back to economic fundamentals. Right. The growth is in Asia. We've seen most of our growth, in fact, for the last few years coming in from Asia. We've grown in the last year to Indonesia, of course. Right. We've grown to Japan. Right. We've also put in additional capacity to India.
In the area.
So a lot of it is in the area. Of course, we're also looking at capacity increases. Like I said, the 380s coming in. So we've got growth to Europe that way. We've also got the 380s flying to US, to Los Angeles, for example. So there is some growth. But of course, when you look at new destinations or new additional services, it's more in this region.
And you're talking about growth as well. Singapore Airline is one of the rare companies that's always in the black. No, 42 years in the black, that's something. But when you're talking, for example, the past decade, what is annual growth for Singapore Airline? Well, as a group, yeah, not including Silk Air and all those.
Yeah, roughly when you look at our compounded annual growth rate, we are looking at about 4 to 5%. That is what we are looking at as a group, as you said. Of course, some of the parts grow and some other parts don't.
Yeah, it depends on the region.
Depends on the region, but that's roughly how we are looking.
But in general, it is
3 to 5%.
Right. Yeah. One of the advantage that Singapore has is well, your location, but also Changi, like you said, it's one of the best rated airports so far. Is it part of Singapore Airlines business, this Changi operation, or because you're a hub? It's a hub for you. It's a center for you.
Yes, but the way we are structured and the way it's run is that Changi Airport runs it independently on their own. Changi Airport Group, as they're called, and Singapore Airlines is separate. So, of course, we work together, and we need to work together, but then it's two separate entities.
It is, I mean, a lot of people are saying, like, anyway, you're waiting in Changi, 2 hours is fine, and things like that. But in terms of cost services, Singapore is becoming increasingly expensive, I must say, lately. I remember in '75, if you want to buy an electronic thing, I said, well, like, yeah, we'll go to Singapore and buy it. Nowadays, I don't even think about Singapore when I want to buy something because I can't afford it. And in terms of services, for example, how does it fare? For example, Changi, you have services costs, and they're not expensive. That's one of the drawbacks. I think a lot of people are also moving to Kuala Lumpur, for example. What are you doing for that?
Again, I have to say it's the reality. No matter what, I can't change my hub from Singapore to Kuala Lumpur, as you say. So I'm here to live with it. What we do, on the other hand, is we look at cost efficiency on our side to see how we can work on certain cost containment measures or cost reduction measures wherever we can internally. Of course, we try and make sure that the customer service is not affected, but internally we look at opportunities to reduce some of these aspects. But yes, costs are increasing. And of course, it's not just Singapore. I mean, even look at Jakarta. Costs in Jakarta are increasing as well. Looking at real estate, looking at cost of servicing. I mean, generally, the costs do go up around the world.
Yeah, sure.
And we just need to be prepared, and we work off certain assumptions or certain, logical constraints.
Well, when you talk about priority, for example, in terms of cost, would you prefer focus on having more fuel efficient airplanes, or would you focus on rather providing more infrastructure, more facilities on the ground?
Well, if you ask me, we would like to have it all. I mean,
if you had to choose, for example.
Now, in the end, again, it goes down to the cost breakdown. As I said earlier, our biggest cost item is fuel. So fuel-efficient aircraft is definitely up there. When you talk about infrastructure, self-service, things like that, we're also moving into that because there's more. It's not just the cost aspect, but it's also because more and more, as we see in the world today, people like to do things on their own. The younger people of today are more self-sufficient. They are more technologically advanced than all of us, and they want to get things done immediately. So talking to a person definitely is not up there. They want to do it on the website. They want to do it on their own. So we're trying to invest in that and trying to come up with a system where people can service themselves, but at the same time, on the other hand, it helps us to save costs as well.
Yeah, in airport as well, we have Like in KL, for example, we have a special terminal for low-cost airline. I think Singapore moved it back into the main terminal.
Right. We are looking at it again. I think Changi Airport is looking at a budget terminal again. Terminal 4 will be for budget airlines.
Okay.
But there used to be a budget terminal, and because of renovation or construction, they moved
it was
back
because
into
of renovation. It was not because of business consideration.
It was temporary. Yes.
Okay.
So they're looking at it again, and in fact, it should be coming up quite soon.
What else? What else is there in store for? I'm talking about Changi, for example, and Singapore Airline. Do you have something in plan together at Changi and Singapore in the near future?
Well, as with any relationship, of course, we do work closely on developments and what's changing. Like for example, as you say, terminal development, new airport or a new terminal of the airport. I mean, to give you an example, we had a big change about 7 or 8 years ago because we started doing what we call split operations. We used to operate just in Terminal 2, but then we moved on to 2 and 3 because we were expanding and we had the 380s coming in and there was growth.
Right.
So in the end, all this takes a lot of discussion and takes a lot of let me say thinking through, thought
back
process
and forth,
and planning,
consultation.
and it starts years ahead. So we are already now looking at Terminal 4 and 5. So it happens all the time. Is
this because you're getting overcrowded as well?
It's just the reality. The more and more passengers are transiting through Changi.
Right.
More and more people are flying to Changi. More and more airlines are flying to Changi. And SQ Singapore Airlines and the group is growing as well. So it's only a matter of time that you need to start. I mean, keep pace with the expansion.
Singapore Airline occupies what, 60% of the facilities, 70% in Changi?
I really don't know. But
okay.
we would be one of the biggest tenants because of our base there.
Right. Again, on speaking of airport, we're talking about sophistication in equipment. Singapore has got, I don't know what you call it in terminology, I'm lost at it, but it's got the best radar in the area. Does it also service other areas? Does it overlap with Indonesia? How does it work? Do you know about that too?
Again, this is unfortunately outside.
Okay.
I mean, I hate to keep saying this, but I don't want to quote something that is not correct.
So, sure. No problem. Okay, fortunately, we have to break again. Please stay with us. We will be back.